Have you ever assembled an IKEA bookcase? The instructions seem simple at first, but halfway through, you realize there's a complex logic to the design that isn't immediately obvious. IKEA's corporate structure works exactly the same way, deceptively simple on the surface, ingeniously complex underneath. The difference is that while your bookcase holds books, IKEA's corporate structure shields billions from taxation and creates an ownership fortress that's virtually impossible to penetrate. Let's assemble the pieces of this corporate puzzle to reveal one of the most brilliant business strategies ever conceived. While millions of customers navigate IKEA's maze-like stores, an even more complex maze exists behind the scenes. One designed not for shoppers, but for tax authorities. The blue and yellow big box stores project an image of Swedish simplicity and transparency. The company presents itself as a straightforward furniture retailer with an honest mission to create affordable products for the masses. Yet this public-facing simplicity masks one of the most sophisticated corporate structures in modern business. IKEA operates through a tax strategy that produces startling results. The company pays approximately 33 times less tax than similar corporations, despite generating billions in revenue annually. This isn't a small accounting trick, it's a fundamental advantage built into the company's very foundation. In 2004 alone, the Inter-IKEA group of companies and II Holding reported combined profits of 553 million euros while paying just 19 million euros in taxes. That's a tax rate of approximately 3.5%, a fraction of what other furniture retailers pay. The cornerstone of this strategy is the Stichting Inca Foundation, a Dutch-registered, tax-exempt entity that owns most IKEA stores worldwide. On paper, this foundation qualifies as a charity, which provides enormous tax benefits. The legal classification places the world's largest furniture retailer in the same category as organizations dedicated to curing diseases or feeding the hungry. This arrangement transforms what would normally be a profit-seeking corporation into a technical non-profit, at least in the eyes of tax authorities. This foundation has a stated charitable purpose of promoting and supporting innovation in the field of architectural and interior design. A noble mission, but one that stands in stark contrast to its actual charitable giving. In 2014, the IKEA Foundation reported charitable expenditures of just 104 million euros. During that same period, the IKEA Group reported profits of 3.3 billion euros and held assets worth 44.6 billion euros. The gap between its wealth and its charitable contributions has led many critics to view the foundation more as a financial shield than a genuine charity. The implications extend far beyond IKEA's bottom line. When a corporation this size pays minimal taxes, countries where IKEA operates lose significant revenue. Those missing tax dollars represent schools that aren't funded, infrastructure that isn't built, and social services that aren't provided. The tax burden shifts to other businesses and individual taxpayers who lack access to similar structures. How does this arrangement remain legal despite growing scrutiny? The Netherlands offers particular advantages for this setup. The country doesn't impose withholding tax on royalties and interest payments sent abroad, even when the destination is a recognized tax haven. Additionally, the Dutch Innovation Box regime taxes royalty income at a preferential rate of 5% compared to the standard corporate income tax of 25%. These features make the Netherlands an ideal jurisdiction for IKEA's tax planning. The European Commission has taken notice. They opened an in-depth investigation into IKEA's tax arrangements in the Netherlands, specifically targeting two tax rulings from 2006 and 2011. These rulings allowed IKEA to deduct substantial license fees and interest, effectively shifting profits out of the Netherlands. EU competition chief Margrethe Vestager stated that member states cannot let selected companies pay less tax by allowing them to artificially shift profits elsewhere. But here's what makes IKEA truly remarkable. This structure isn't just about saving money on taxes. It serves a far more strategic purpose. The foundation structure creates a virtually impenetrable ownership fortress. It prevents hostile takeovers, shields the company from shareholder demands, and ensures complete control remains with a small, hand-picked board of directors. IKEA isn't just avoiding taxes. It's protecting itself from outside influence entirely. And this is just the surface level of IKEA's legal engineering. The company actually operates through not one, but two separate entities. A dual structure that further complicates its corporate architecture and creates even more financial advantages. This split system enables funds to flow between different parts of IKEA across multiple countries, making the company's operations nearly impossible to fully track. What if I told you that when you buy a Billy bookcase, your money doesn't actually go to IKEA, but instead flows through a series of companies spanning multiple countries? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's the deliberately engineered reality of how IKEA operates. The company you think of as IKEA actually consists of two entirely separate corporate entities. The IKEA Group manages retail operations, the stores you visit, the meatballs you eat, the furniture you struggle to assemble. The IKEA Group controls everything related to the IKEA concept, brand trademarks, and franchise agreements. This separation creates a system where one part of IKEA pays the other, forming the foundation of its financial strategy. Every IKEA store worldwide pays a 3% royalty fee to IKEA Systems BV, based in the Netherlands. This seemingly small percentage adds up to enormous sums when applied to IKEA's global revenue. The royalty system effectively transfers profits from retail operations to the IKEA Group. From there, the money flows through a network of entities across multiple countries, creating a financial trail that's nearly impossible to follow completely. The journey of your furniture money begins at retail stores owned by Inca Holding, which itself is owned by the Stichting Inca Foundation we discussed earlier. But the royalty payments travel to IKEA Systems, which until recently was owned by II Holding, registered in Luxembourg. II Holding transferred these profits to the IKEA Foundation in Liechtenstein, a secretive principality known for its banking privacy and tax advantages. This IKEA Foundation is controlled by the Kamprad family and receives profits from franchise fees while maintaining a technical separation from retail operations. The structure creates plausible deniability. The family doesn't directly own IKEA stores, yet the profits find their way to entities they control. It's a masterclass in having power without apparent ownership. IKEA employs additional tax strategies beyond this basic structure. Transfer pricing allows them to set prices for transactions between different parts of the company, shifting profits to lower tax jurisdictions. Intercompany loans generate interest payments that are tax deductible. Even inventory management becomes a tax strategy, with stock strategically held in tax-friendly locations until needed elsewhere. The European Commission recognized these tactics and launched investigations into IKEA's tax arrangements in the Netherlands. They particularly scrutinized two tax rulings from 2006 and 2011 that allowed IKEA to significantly reduce its taxable profits through substantial license fees and interest deductions. These investigations highlighted how IKEA's structure isn't just complex. It's actively designed to minimize tax obligations across multiple jurisdictions. The contradiction between IKEA's public image and its financial reality is striking. The company projects Scandinavian values of transparency, simplicity, and social responsibility. Their stores feature open designs. Their instruction manuals dispense with words in favor of universal illustrations, and their mission centers on improving everyday life. Yet their financial operations remain deliberately opaque, complex, and oriented toward minimizing contributions to the societies that host their stores. This elaborate structure serves a purpose beyond tax savings. It creates a virtually impenetrable defense against outside influence. No corporate raider can launch a hostile takeover. No activist investor can purchase shares and demand changes to operations. No public shareholders can vote on company direction. The foundations, holding companies and trusts form a moat around the IKEA empire that keeps decision-making power concentrated in the hands of the select few chosen by the Kamprad family. The brilliance of this system raises an important question. Who ultimately benefits from this arrangement? If the Stichting Inca Foundation's charitable giving represents just a fraction of its potential tax contributions, and if the Inter-Ogo Foundation exists primarily to secure control rather than serve public needs, then the structure seems designed not for society's benefit, but for perpetuating power and wealth within a small circle. This leads us to examine exactly who maintains control over this global empire. The IKEA you know doesn't have shareholders, can't be bought, and will never go public. All because of decisions made by one man who claimed to ride the bus and shop at flea markets despite being worth billions. Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA's founder, cultivated an image that seemed almost absurdly contradictory. A billionaire who drove an old Volvo, flew economy class, and maintained modest living habits. This carefully constructed persona aligned perfectly with IKEA's brand of affordability and accessibility. Yet behind this humble facade stood the architect of one of history's most sophisticated wealth protection systems. The apparent contradiction between Kamprad's frugal image and his financial engineering represents the perfect metaphor for IKEA itself, presenting simplicity while operating with remarkable complexity. Kamprad designed a structure where his family maintains significant control without technically owning the company. This arrangement places family members and loyal associates in key positions throughout the corporate ecosystem, creating influence without direct ownership. The board structure of the Stichting Inca Foundation illustrates this control mechanism perfectly. The foundation's bylaws guarantee family representation, with Ingvar's sons Jonas and Peter Kamprad holding positions alongside longtime associates like Göran Grosskopf, a former IKEA group chairman. This composition ensures that regardless of who serves as CEO, the foundation's decisions will align with the Kamprad family vision and preserve IKEA's independence. Similar arrangements exist at the Inter-Ogo Foundation in Liechtenstein, which owns Inter IKEA Group. The Kamprad family maintains a minority position on the supervisory council, while the majority consists of individuals with long-standing ties to the family and IKEA's business groups. This structure creates a seamless extension of family influence across both primary parts of the IKEA empire. These governance mechanisms achieve Kamprad's central goal, ensuring IKEA cannot be bought or go public. The foundation's bylaws mandate continued ownership of Inca Holding, and shares can only be sold to another foundation with identical objectives. Furthermore, the foundation can only dissolve through insolvency. This creates a virtually unbreakable lock on IKEA's independence, permanently shielding it from hostile takeovers or short-term shareholder demands. This control extends to how IKEA treats its workers, with significant inconsistencies across markets. In Sweden, employees enjoy generous wages and benefits as part of the Scandinavian welfare model. But in the United States, workers have reported poor conditions and anti-union activities. In Danville, Virginia, for example, workers faced wage cuts and union discouragement, revealing how IKEA's commitment to social responsibility varies dramatically depending on location. The Kamprad family structure enables them to extract wealth through various mechanisms while maintaining the narrative that they don't directly own or profit from IKEA. As The Economist noted, this arrangement minimizes tax and disclosure, handsomely rewards the founding Kamprad family, and makes IKEA immune to a takeover. The intricate legal framework serves both as wealth preservation and as a control mechanism that transcends traditional ownership. IKEA's model has inspired other billionaires seeking similar arrangements. Patagonia founder Yvon Chouinard recently transferred his company ownership to a purpose trust and environmental nonprofit, creating a structure where profits fund climate initiatives while the family maintains decision-making control. The parallels to IKEA's model are unmistakable. Both preserve founder vision while creating tax advantages under the banner of higher purposes. These arrangements raise fundamental questions. Do these structures represent genuine corporate responsibility or sophisticated tax avoidance disguised as philanthropy? When companies minimize tax contributions while touting social commitment, are they truly serving the societies that enabled their success? IKEA's structure ultimately represents a new model of capitalism where traditional ownership gives way to perpetual control through legal entities. This approach allows founders to shape corporate behavior for generations, creating family dynasties without traditional inheritance. The ethics of this model remain debatable, forcing us to consider how we balance private wealth concentration against public resource needs. As these structures proliferate among the ultra-wealthy, society must decide whether the benefits of founder control outweigh the costs to democratic governance and tax revenue distribution. When we step back from the flat-pack furniture and Swedish meatballs, IKEA represents something far more consequential than clever tax planning. It offers a blueprint for how the wealthy can maintain perpetual control over vast resources while minimizing both taxation and public accountability. The company has pioneered a corporate architecture that others now emulate. Each time we wheel our carts through IKEA's carefully designed paths, we make a choice between convenience and complicity. Our purchases support a system that privatizes profits while socializing costs through reduced tax contributions. The critical question isn't whether this structure is legal, but whether we want our most successful businesses to be those most skilled at avoiding their societal responsibilities.